Hi everyone, and welcome to this special episode. We're joined by Gemma and Merrin from Reflo, who are going to explore and explain a bit about the company. So, Merrin, are you going to start? Just give us a bit of context of who Reflo is and kind of how their story came about.
Sure. So yeah, Reflo is a sportswear brand based in the UK, and was started. We're kind of a still a startup, only about 3.5 years old. The brand was started by a couple of guys called Pete and Rory, who were kind of working in there, who have been friends since school actually. So have known each other for a really long time and worked in their kind of separate industries and separate businesses, doing various very interesting jobs, but both kind of having a kind of these values of wanting to do something better for the planet and to create something that didn't have such a negative impact. And I think one of them discovered that bottles, old water bottles, PET bottles, could be made into recycled fabric. And the other one was working on a kind of a golf event series, and those two things kind of collided and ended up with them starting this what started as a golfwear brand, but has massively expanded over the past few years into all different kinds of sportswear, and also into this kind of partnerships arm of the business, which provides team kits for football sports teams, Formula One, Formula E,
Mhm.
rugby, I think. So all sorts of different sportswear teams as well. And the idea was that they were able to kind of create this brand from day one, offering all of these products made from wherever possible recycled materials. So it quite kind of different to a lot of the existing big sportswear brands out there that maybe do use a little bit of recycled polyester. They from day one, everything was that could possibly be made of this was made of recycled materials. And the brand's growing really quickly. It's a very exciting time, and they have some big ambitions around sustainability, but also around performance and innovation and where we can go in terms of the sports world.
Yeah, great. And so, Gemma, one of the aspects of reflow is the reloop. I guess is it a process? Is it kind of a scheme? I wondered if you wanted to talk a bit more about reloop.
So like Reloop originally was kind of creating products and having like an end of life solution for it. Obviously, we don't have an end of life solution for everything at the moment. That's something that we're working on over the next 5 years. So originally, I came in, I was like employee number two. Um, Working on, I again wasn't working on partnerships at the time. I was still working on wholesale. So I created the first recyclable golf polo. We partnered with the Circular Textiles Foundation. And when I was developing the polo, we were having to look at kind of like creating a ribbed collar without elastane, but making sure that it still functioned. The actual main material, which was a PK, was 100% recycled polyester, but making sure it had a small amount of stretch, obviously for that golf swing. And then I had to like source the buttons to make sure that they were recycled polyester. But what's quite interesting is if, say, someone says, I would like the whole garment to be 100% recycled polyester, sometimes that's not you you can't do that because, for example, the buttons that were developed that are Reflow branded, they're 30% recycled polyester, 70% polyester. And we were informed by the supplier that, like, if you go above that, then they could break and they're less durable. So um, sometimes what I've had to explain to people is um, we will try and make everything 100% recycled polyester where we can, but sometimes you have to make compromises.
Mhm.
And obviously, there's the argument of you want the trims to be durable as well. So that's kind of where it started. And even like down to the thread was recycled polyester, the care label was recycled polyester. And we got it certified, and it became the first Reloop product for Reflow. And then that ended up going from like one product to like 5 or 6 products the next season, and then it started entering it into partnerships. Um, at that time, then took on another product development manager, Rebecca. She became the equivalent of me on partnerships, and then she kind of grew that area for Reflo, and then I carried on down the wholesale route. So that's kind of like what Reloop is at the moment. Reloop is evolving. Mary might be able to give you kind of a more kind of broader idea of where Reloop's going.
Yeah.
But there also has been some kind of like upcycling in there as well, like small projects and that sort of thing. So yeah.
And so a lot of what you're talking about here, Gemma, is around certification and kind of proving almost. Oh, Merrin, could you talk a bit more about some of the certification that's involved and how that works?
Sure. Yeah. So with regards to Reloop, the certification that Gemma's specifically referring to is we work with an organisation called the Circular Textiles Foundation, and where we have designed something specifically to be recycled through a specific system, they will certify that. So there's a recycling centre in the UK that recycles polyester garments, but they have very specific requirements for what those garments have to be for them to be able to go through their system. And so Gemma works very, very hard to make sure that they meet those requirements, and then the CTF certify it. So that's one type of certification. That's quite an unusual one for the clothing industry. It's quite new. I mean, Reloop itself is quite a new idea of not just creating materials from recycled products from recycled materials, but also designing them for recyclability at the end of life is really important. But there are lots of other kind of certifications that brands can also use to kind of help verify that something they're doing is better or authentic or more traceable. And so we look at we look at various different certifications, like global recycled standards, which helps us to trace our materials all the way back to where they came from at raw material stage, and kind of track them through the whole of the supply chain. Another certification we looked at recently with one of our sportswear teams was vegan. Because the sportswear team were sponsored by the Vegan Society there. It's a very kind of big part of their story.
Is it the Forest Green Rovers? Yeah, the football club.
Yes, Forest Green Rovers,
yeah.
exactly. Yes, I wasn't sure if I was allowed to say the
Yeah, no,
name or not.
definitely. Yeah.
But yeah, so Forest Green Rovers are sponsored by the Vegan Society, and we do the football kits for them, and they wanted to get them vegan certified, and so we had to go through a process in a similar way. We had to go through a process of kind of proving that every single part of that product, so including all of the materials, which you would expect from a football kit, them not to be made of kind of leather or wool, but also all of the dyes and finishes. We had to kind of demonstrate that none of those dyes and finishes contained any animal derived ingredients, and so that meant going back through the supply chain and contacting the mills and making sure we knew where all the fabrics came from and what dyes and finishes were used. So yeah, certifications can be a really good way to kind of demonstrate recyclability or vegan or traceability, depending on what you're looking to do. That can be really helpful for a brand to
is then the partnerships aspect quite interesting, both because I guess like Forest Green Rovers, who are asking for this vegan certification, but I guess also does it, maybe from your perspective, Gemma, in terms of moving into other sports, so moving from golf and then having to think about the requirements of a piece of clothing within that sphere? I mean, is that does the partnerships piece also help drive some of what Reflow's doing?
I would say probably the partnership side, there is probably more like Reloop product. I think I can't really speak on behalf of the partnership team, but I think that for them it is kind of, there's a lot more work going in, and I think it's probably a bit more complicated in terms of developing these type of products. Like it's easier kind of for us to on wholesale to develop things that we want to develop. It's kind of more what Reflow wants and what's selling, and actually it being kind of dictated by a customer or partner. I think on partnerships, there's a lot more that's going into it in terms of who's involved, the kind of post garment embellishment, like numbers going on, that's kind of added a bit of a more complication into developing these type of products, because we can kind of control the materials we're sourcing and the transfers that we're putting on, but then we can't always control, say, what our partners then going to put on that product. Would you say that I've probably summed that up, Merin, in a
Yeah.
nutshell? Yeah.
The only other thing I'd say is probably that it is quite interesting partnering with lots of different sports from um, lots of different sports industries, because they're being driven by their kind of associations to be more sustainable and to buy better kit or to buy better products for their sports, and so that's actually helping our business quite a lot, because we are able to offer them something different, not just in terms of offering a kind of products made from lower impact materials, but also we've got this kind of innovation piece around using more innovative and interesting materials, but also designing for recyclability, and that is kind of a differentiator for us, that is really helpful in the partnership space, because I think their businesses, the partners are businesses too, and they want stories to tell their fans and their customers, and they also have to comply with certain regulations that are put in place by their own. Sorry, I'm not sure what it's called. The organization that
Yeah,
kind of
they're
after a
associate
certain
sports
sport.
associations and all those
It
sorts
is
of
a
things.
sports
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
association,
yeah.
but yeah, so they're having to meet certain requirements for them as well. So so that is in some ways that's driving, certainly that's driving or that will drive innovation within Reflow, to kind of make sure that we can continue to offer something that is that next level of sustainability, but is also meeting all of their different performance requirements as well.
And I think what's like amazing about Reflow is that we want to like tackle these problems in that kind of area of the industry. I think it's like a part of the industry that's kind of not really been looked at for kind of like end of life. And obviously partnerships, they're generating like how many football kits a season, and then they just kind of redesign for the new season. I think what's nice about Reflow is that we're willing to move into that space and to make a good impact in that space. And it's one of these things that where me and Marion were talking about, like when you're kind of looking at these type of products, you do fail, but Reflow's willing to try and to I guess disrupt things and do better. And if we hit a hurdle, we learn from it and we're going to do better. Like, and I think that's why there's kind of, it's going to take brands years to move into this space and really get on board with it and kind of have it all in place, because it's not easy like doing this, but we're willing to try.
Yeah, but that
And
sounds
then
really
if,
exciting though. It sounds
yeah.
quite an exciting space to be in, and it feels like there's far more meaning than maybe in potentially other companies. I mean, just to finish, is there a particular project or a particular something that you're working on at the moment that you're kind of willing to share and say like, I'm really excited about this at the moment. I don't know from either of you. Is there something that's really captured your imagination at the moment?
I mean, I think for me, I'm really excited to see where Reloop goes. I think Gemma has done like such an amazing job of kind of bringing a lot of innovation and new materials into the business that are going to allow us to become a more circular business, and now just building on that and getting more and more innovation into the business, and finding more ways to just basically more ways to keep our products in use for longer, and then be recycled at the end of their life is really exciting. It's really exciting for me, because it feels like we genuinely have the opportunity to become a circular business model, rather than just having this maybe like a tokenistic take back scheme or a tokenistic resale platform, or but where we actually build all of that into the way that we operate, and we become a successful kind of example of a circular business model. That for me is really exciting, and one of the reasons that I joined Reflow, because I feel like that's where this business is going, and it has the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
From my side, I'm looking forward to like doing better and being better. And then I can then bring that to the brand, so the brand can also keep doing better and more. I think that there's a lot of challenges within this kind of like space, and even in general, there's a lot of challenges like in terms of the clothing industry, and this kind of is a next level. So I'm excited to like learn about kind of more ways of end of life solutions and working with Merin again. I think she is valuable for Reflow, and she's going to take it to the next level, including Reloop. So yeah, I think that in the next couple of seasons we're going to be doing big things. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, I guess we should say go and check out the Reflow website to be able to see more of actually what the products look like and to kind of find out more of the brand. Um, yeah, otherwise, thank you so much for sharing the story.
Thank you.
No worries. Thanks for having us.